Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another promising and exciting session as we head into the last trading day of the week. I'm so excited to be here. It has been a very wonderful and tremendously profitable week for everyone in the house as we were able to scoop a significant amount of profit throughout the course of the week. And congrats to everyone who has been part of this profitable journey. As usual, we are going to be diving into an exciting but insightful analysis today. As you all know, we have four financial instruments that we have been monitoring since the beginning of the week. The USDJPY, the GBPUSD, XAUUSD, and of course, the USOilSPOT. So we are going to be going through this through a comprehensive price action perspective, and we're also going to be exploring the recent movement and chart patterns on all these instruments as we try to uncover key insights that can potentially shape our trading decisions for today. So for those who are joining us here, you are also welcome. I'm also very, very glad to have you guys around. Our purpose here is to come together as a community, gathering in anticipation of both the New York and London trading session. And during this time, we are going to be reviewing and manage our current positions while we also aim to position ourselves strategically for today's trading session. And during the live session, we normally take into consideration the 1 hour time frame, basically. So most of our review is basically on the 1 hour time frame, but the analysis we are doing today is a backdrop of what I shared during the course of the previous weekend, where I did a top-down and full-scale analysis on how we are going to be positioning ourselves ahead of this week. So what we do every day here is just a follow-up detail to that video. So if you want to have an idea or a background knowledge of how we got to the current structure you will be seeing on the 1 hour time frame, it is very pertinent that you check out the videos. I already have the link to those videos in the description box of this current video you are watching, and one thing about it is that they are duly timestamped so you can easily navigate to whichever aspect of the video is of your interest. So with that being said, here I welcome you all once again. I can see Adam Ishak, Innocent Babe, right? Good morning to you. Thank you very much. I'm really humbled to have to have known that you my content have a major impact in your trading career. Thank you very much for that one. Then I can see DEAN. Good morning to you. Thank you. I'm very sure you are quite new with us. Let me know in the comment section if you really are. Thank you very much for saying hi. Thank you. And also, I will be very grateful that you give me some feedback as regards to the audio quality, if they are quite fine. If there are any distortions, please let me know so that I can quickly and promptly do the adjustment that is necessary so that we can all have a better experience out here. So with that being said, let's dive right into the business for today. And you know how we do it. The first thing we are going to be doing is to check the economic calendar. And you know how important checking the economic calendar is for us in this community, as we all know that these fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movements. And by monitoring the economic calendar, we can identify potential correlations between the key economic releases and specific technical patterns. And for today, we have two high impact events that we are going to be looking forward to. And I have been trying to check my economic calendar to spool out the activities for this week, but I've been finding it difficult to do so. I have refreshed this page a couple of times. Let me try it one more time and see. So I've been trying to bring out the activities for this week, but every point in time I click onto this week's option, it never loads. So, okay, all right. I think it will come up now. All right. So in the last 24 hours, you would have noticed that the dollar suffered heavy losses against its major rival. And one thing we have been seeing this morning, I think I'm beginning to see some traction for the US dollar ahead of the CPI data today. So we are going to be looking at that in a moment. So let's look at what today is coming up with. So today is June 16, Friday, and we already have this economic feature from the Japanese economy, and that is the interest rate decision, and they have left the interest rate just as expected, minus 0.1%. So I'm yet to get an highlight on the Bank of Japan's monetary policy statement and of course their press conference, but I think before the end of today I should be able to get a hold on that, and let's compare and see how that is going to be affecting price movement for today. Then we also have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index, which is coming up in about 5 hours from now. And the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index is always released by the University of Michigan, and it's actually a survey of personal consumer confidence in the economic activity. This shows us a picture of whether or not consumers are willing to spend money, and this is a clear sign. This will give us a clear sign into the health of the US economy, as generally speaking a high reading is seen as something positive for the US dollar, while a low reading is seen as negative. Now, from the previous data we have from the Consumer Sentiment Index for the month of May, for the month of June rather, for the month of May we had 59.2, and we have a general consensus projecting 60. So there is a general perspective that there has been more of spending this month. So we are going to be looking forward to see what the actual data is going to be like for the Consumer Sentiment Index. And this is one high impact event that majority in the market will also be looking forward to, as it will have a major impact on price movement. So what we are going to be doing across the USD pairs is to try to see how we can position ourselves ahead of any potential move today by identifying structures and patterns that will guide our trading activities today. Then there's one more thing that is peculiar about last trading days of the week, like Fridays or last trading day of the month. There is always this psychological expectation that majority will have hold significant amount of position throughout the course of the week. That is, who had made quite a lot of significant amount of profit throughout the course of the week will definitely want to be doing some profit-taking activities, that is taking off some of their positions ahead of the weekend. And this normally reflects on the chart as a retracement phase, as price action moving in the opposite direction of the proud leading price action. So we are likely going to be seeing some movement in the opposite direction today. So we are going to be taking this also into consideration while we monitor price action today. So with that being said, let's dive right into the business for today. And as usual, the first instrument we are going to be taking today is the USOilSPOT. Now, on the USOilSPOT, we have been, okay, I can see Philip A. Philip A, good morning to you. Oh, you're new also. Glad to have you around. Trust you are doing well out there. And I hope you've been using the information here to make positive, independent decisions on your account. So, with that being said, let's dive right into the business. So as usual, we are talking about the USOilSPOT, and in fact, we have been very, very profitable on this commodity since the beginning of the week. We have had the moment where we had selling positions, and we also had moments where we have been buying, at least in the last couple of days now. So I want us to quickly run through how the week started for us on this commodity so that we can have a background knowledge of where we are coming from in anticipation of where price action is likely going to be going for today. So from the data we have here on the 1 hour time frame, at the beginning of the week, we initially saw how price action was caught within a range, and that was between the $70.10 level, which you can see here, and the $69.30 level, which you can see here. So with this channel here, the market already gave us a simple structure to work with ahead of the new week. And one of the things we normally look out for whenever we have this kind of simple flat channel is for us to remain patient, waiting for structures to mature, hereby giving us a signal in the form of either a breakout of the resistance line or the breakdown of the support line for a trading opportunity. And in fact, we had the privilege of joining a bearish move to the downside, as you can see here. And in addition to that one, we also had a trend line figured out after we connected a series of lower highs. And in fact, on Monday's trading session, this was the trend line we were using to guide our trading activity. And what we're saying here is that as long as price action remains below the trend line, we'll feel comfortable in our sell positions while we look out for more opportunities to maximize the bearish move. But if price action breaks out of this trend line, then at that point we'll start considering buying the USOilSPOT. So with the trend line here, we had the privilege of joining a bearish move here, and that gave us about how many pips was about 170 pips on that one. Then we also added more positions at the breakdown of the $67.80, which gave us close to 100 pips too on that one. So as at the first day of the week, we were already cruising with over 200 pips in profit on the USOilSPOT. Then later on Tuesday, we acknowledged the bullish momentum as it gradually was building up behind the scenes. We caught that move right from the beginning here after noticing how this area around the $67 level had been negating all sellers' attempt to push through that structure. So we saw the first negation here by the buyers. We also saw the second negation here, hereby making us to identify that level as a demand zone going forward. Then in addition to that demand zone, we also connected a series of higher lows here, which gave us this bullish trend line, which you can see on your screen right now. And in fact, we tried to ride that bullish trend line all the way to the upside as we positioned ourselves at the breakout retest of the $67.80 level to maximize this bullish move. And in fact, we rode the move all the way to the upside, as you can see here. If you are taking only one position, price action moved over 250 pips in our favor before the bearish momentum began. And remember that we also maximize the potential of this move by adding more positions. So we added one here, having a buy stop order above the $68.63 level to ride the move all the way to the upside. We also added another one here. So it was quite a profitable first half of the week for us on the USOilSPOT. Then there's something we noticed here yesterday after monitoring how price action has been playing out, and that was the fact that we saw how price action significantly broke down that bullish trend line, which happens to be the first time this would happen for this week. And for us at that point in time, we were considering that this might likely be an opportunity to sell the USOilSPOT. So we were looking forward to something like a retest of structure to incite a bearish momentum to the downside. And one thing we agreed here yesterday, let me bring up the chart we used yesterday to guide our trading activity. So we had this one here. Okay, so during our live session yesterday, despite the fact that we saw the breakdown of that trend line, we also acknowledged the attempts by the sellers to break through the $68 area. As you can see here, we saw that every attempt was negated by the buyers as sellers were unable to break through. And one thing I stated here yesterday is that we are going to be having a buy stop order above the $68.60 level. And I think during the live session yesterday, I told you that I had my buy stop order triggered already. And look at what happened here. Since yesterday, price action had continued to climb, find higher highs in this market. Then we also had the privilege of adding more positions to our existing trade. Remember, I told us all that we are going to be having another buy stop order above the $69.28 level. I also said here that we're also going to be having another buy stop order above the $70.50 level, and all of these orders had been triggered right now. So if you are taking advantage of the breakout of these levels we identified yesterday, you should be having a minimum of 3 positions running at this particular point in time. And throughout yesterday, I was giving updates on my public platform, both my TradingView and Telegram platform. Let me show you quickly so that we can all be on the same page here. So on my TradingView platform here, this is the USOilSPOT commentary, which I was updating you throughout the course of yesterday. So let's run through that quickly and see what we have here. So this was how we have been managing our positions on the USOilSPOT so far this week. Look at what we have been witnessing around here. So this was how we sold initially at the beginning of the week. We had our TP target. We had buy positions, again, the demand zone I just showed you earlier. And since this moment, we have been buying. See how we anticipated another breakout of the $68.63 level here. Then we saw our price broke out the structure. I told us to secure buy positions. Price continued to move to the upside. So it was quite a very profitable week for us here yesterday and this week. So I wanted us to see what my commentary was this morning. Okay, so this was yesterday's trading session, and we had the buy stop order above the $68.60 level, which was triggered here. And since that moment, price action has continued to the upside. Look at how we were positioning ourselves for every opportunities in this market. So it was very, very profitable, and congrats to everyone who has been part of this profitable journey. So I stated here this morning that we have achieved a total profit of 380 pips from 3 positions. It is now advisable to secure the existing buy positions. We will thoroughly discuss our next steps during our upcoming live session. Looking forward to seeing you soon. So this was my comment here this morning, and look at the structure we have right now. So if you still have a buy position running at those particular points in time, I will be suggesting that you move all stop losses to an area below the $70.50 level. Of course, we want to give room for price action to breathe. So anywhere around between around the $70 area or above the $70 level, we want to move our stop losses to secure all buy positions in this market, while we also look out for more opportunities if the market presents to us these opportunities. So with a well-secured position right now, what is going to be our next line of action for today? Well, with the situation of things are still looking very, very bullish in this market. But the first thing I would like to do here is to acknowledge this new ascending trend line we spotted here yesterday after we connected the series of higher lows here. So I would like to extend this out a little further to capture the next bus stop if price action will retrace into that level. So with the trend line figured out right now, you know how we use our trend lines. So as long as price action remains above the trend line, we want to feel comfortable in our buy position, while we also look out for more opportunities to buy the USOilSPOT. So at this point in time, with price remaining above the $70.50 level and the trend line, we want to look out for more opportunities to buy. And one thing here is that we already have a resistant level, which is situated at the I think the $71 area. You can see this is the highest point price action has been for this week. So I want to label this level right now. Of course, you want to mark this level out on your chart, as we are going to be using this as a reference point to guide our next buy position if price action breaks out, retest that level. So 81.00 level label out right now. And so what I'm going to be looking out for at this point is, since I'm already profitable on the USOilSPOT, we are profitable on this commodity so far this week, we can actually leverage on some of our profit to test waters around this area. So what I simply mean here is that we are going to be having a buy stop order above the $81 level to capture a trend continuation to the upside. Now, normally in this kind of situation, noticing the sell pressure here during the New York session yesterday and this morning too as well, we saw another sell pressure here. The normal thing to do here from a technical standpoint is to wait for price to break out. Then we scale down into our lower time frame to look out for retest of structure to now add more position to our existing trade. But since we're already profitable so far this week, we could still afford to leverage on some of the profit we have made to test what is around that area. So a buy stop order above that level will be fine. Then have your stop loss sitting at the $70.50 area, which will be dovetailing to about 50 to 55 pips stop loss on this one. And let's see how far this bullish momentum is going to go. Now, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunity in this market, we cannot ignore the potentials of sellers too as well. So if we are going to be selling the USOilSPOT today, what do you think we are going to see on this chart that will make us change our buyers from bullish to bearish? Well, the first thing we have noticed so far is that price action had been rejecting the the $71 level. That was a typographical error. Let me change that quickly. So that is the $71 level. So we have seen a couple of rejection of that area, which shows signs that sellers are present around that area. So if we are going to be selling, that is, if the sell pressure here continues, then I want to see price action break down the $70.50 level at one point. But breaking down that $70.50 level does not mean that we are going to be selling right away, as we'll still need some confirmation to happen before joining any move right here. So as soon as the breakdown of the $70.50 level happens, we want to scale down into our lower time frame, where we want to look out for signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above the $70.50 level. And this would reflect on the chart as price retesting the structure, and in fact continued selling pressure will give us a sign that sellers are gradually gaining momentum in anticipation of a sell-off in this market. And if this leads to the breakdown of this trend line, then this trend line is breached, which is a sign that sellers might likely take price all the way to the downside. And this might likely be a profit-taking activity, as participants are rounding off on their positions into the weekend. Of course, we don't want to hold significant amounts of positions into the weekend, because we never can tell what could happen over the weekend before the new week starts. So because of this, we might likely see a sell-off in this market, where the breakdown of this trend line will be a confirmation for us to join a bearish move. So while we keep tabs with the idea of buying above the $71 level, we should also not ignore the potentials that the sellers also have in this market, where the breakdown of both the $70.50 level and the trend line we have here could incite a sell-off in this market. So let's mark these levels out on our chart, and let's be on standby and alert to be able to take advantage of any of these opportunities. But trust me, I'm always with you in the comment section on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, where I always dish out updates as at when due that I found a new setup evolving. So that is that on the USOilSPOT today. If you have any questions regarding what I just explained, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and trust me, I am here and willing to be of help in that regard. I can see Zach Z. Good morning to you, Zach Z. How are you doing? And I'm glad to have you around. Trust you having a wonderful experience out there, and try to stay tuned in to be with us throughout the session and join us on our subsequent session. And trust me, with time you get to understand how this works, and you will be able to use whatever information you have gathered here to make your independent decisions on your account. And so that is that on the USOilSPOT for today. So I will be moving on to the next instrument. So the next instrument on our watch list is the GBPUSD. On the GBPUSD, we've also had a very profitable 24 hours here on the GBPUSD, as we currently have about 3 positions running in profit at this particular point in time. And if you remember yesterday, we acknowledge that price action has been finding it difficult to break through the 1.26400 level area. If you recall that vividly yesterday, I mentioned this and I said if this persists, there is a likelihood that we are going to be having a buying opportunity. And in order to buttress this, we also acknowledge this trend line here after we said that a breakout retest of this trend line will be what we are going to be looking for to capture this bullish move to the upside. And this was exactly what happened immediately after I think during the live session it happened. We saw the breakout retest, and in fact with a buy stop order above the 1.26500 level, we had our first buy position yesterday, and then we also had the privilege of maximizing this profit by adding more positions at the breakout of the 1.26710 level and the 1.2700 area as we continue to enjoy this move all the way to the upside. So if you are taking the first position here, you will currently be running with over 130 pips in profit, and the second position here should be running with about 120, and the third position here is running with about 100, close to 100 pips around that area. So it has been quite a profitable 24 hours for us. Personally, I had my TP target around the 1.28 and I got stopped out with profit on all three positions this morning. And for those who have been part of this profitable journey, well done to you for being on standby to catch this move. Now, for those who still have a buy position running at this point, hoping that you want to capitalize on this potential move to the upside, I think it is high time you want to be moving your stop loss to secure your current position. You know how we do it here. We always ensure that whenever price action moves significantly well in our favor, we move our stop losses accordingly to lock in some profit. So at this point, I'm suggesting that any area below the 1.27800 seems most appropriate to lock some profit. Of course, you want to give room for price action to breed, hoping that price will still continue to the upside. So with that being said here, let's dive into what to look out for today to join up a continue to the upside, or probably get ready for a sell-off that could lead into price dropping further to the downside. So before we can get something out here, we can see that as soon as price action tested that level, had the 1.28180 level. So you want to mark this level out on your chart right now. 1.28180 level. So mark that level out. Then we also have a support line here along the 1.2770, I think. Yes, 1.2770. So you want to mark that level out too as well. 1.2770 level. Let's see. Yeah. So I'd like to place it at the bottom. All right. So right now, since the later part of the New York session yesterday, we have seen a situation here where price action is trapped within a range between the 1.28180 and the 1.27700 level. And this could be connected to the expectation that participants are looking forward to the CSI Consumer Sentiment Index coming up later today, and majority might want to wait and see what the figure, the actual data is going to be like before making any informed decision here. And this might likely be a catalyst to push price either to the upside or to the downside. And you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of simple flat channel. We want to wait patiently for price action to give us a signal, which will often come in the form of either a breakout of the resistant line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. Now, since price action has been bullish at least since the beginning of this week, let us first of all take into consideration the potentials of the buyers in this market. And now, if we consider the impulsive move that brought us to this point that we are right now, there is a high chance that this whole new structure we have could turn out to be a trend continuation pattern. And as a result of that, we want to see a breakout of the resistant line at the 1.28180 to be part of a trend continuation to the upside. And as a result of this expectation, we are going to be having a buy stop order sitting above the 1.28180 to capture this bullish move to the upside. So let's see how that's going to play out on this one. But in the contrary, if the sell pressure around the 1.28180 continues to persist, that is, buyers find it difficult to break above the previous high, then at this point we might likely be considering selling the GBPUSD. And to sell here, we want to see price action break through the support line, which for me might likely be a retracement of this impulsive move that we saw here. So selling at this point will need a breakdown retest of the 1.277. So please note what I'm saying here. We are not having a sell stop order. Instead, we are going to wait for price action to break down first of all. Then we scale down to our lower time frame where we look out for retest of structure to incite a sell-off in this market. So a breakdown retest is what will incite a sell-off in this market. So let's see how price action will play out on this one. Then we have a buy stop order. Hold on a second. And then we have a buy stop order above the 1.28180 area to capture a potential trend continuation to the upside. So let's see how this will play out in the next couple of hours. Trust me, I'm always with you in the comment section on both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates as at when due. So if you have any questions regarding what I just explained on the JPUSD, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So with that being said, here I will be moving on to the next instrument. And the next instrument on our watch list is the XAUUSD, of course. I think, yes, is the XAUUSD. So on the XAUUSD, we also had a very profitable trade. In fact, a very, very profitable one, as we were able to scoop over 900 pips on the XAUUSD. In fact, it was just too massive. I didn't expect it actually, but we were able to maximize the potential of this move by adding more position at every point in time. Now, let's run through how we got to the idea of buying the XAUUSD yesterday. So I would like to zoom into the structure we identified during our live session yesterday. So this was what we saw during our live session yesterday. We saw this 1,929 level. We saw the sharp rejection of the structure prior to the live session, where we noticed how this area had continued to reject every attempt by the sellers to break through the structure. And because of this activity we saw around this zone yesterday, I told you here that I'm of the opinion that we are likely going to see a bullish momentum anytime soon. And to anticipate that bullish momentum, I said we need a breakout of both the trend line. We identified this trend line yesterday, and then we also identified this key level at the 1,934, which also shares a confluence with that trend line. And what we said here is that we are going to be waiting for a breakout retest of the structure to be part of this bullish move to the upside. And we also positioned ourselves for selling opportunities. Remember, we had a sell stop order below the $1,929 level. I had a sell position triggered. I think I shared an update in that regard. And as soon as price action moved, how many pips was that? It moved about 40 pips thereabout. I told us to move all stop losses, and we were taking out at the worst case scenario at break even on that position. Now, with a buy stop order above the 1,934, we saw how massive we saw price break through that structure and continue to ride all the way to the upside. And you know, we already had buy stop orders at the 1,937. We had buy stop order at the 1,940. We had buy stop order at the 1,945 and $1,949.50 level. You can see how massive that move was. So on this single move right here, we had over 900 pips in profit on this position. Congrats to every single one of you who has been part of this profitable journey so far in the last 24 hours. Well done to you guys for being on standby. So personally, I still have a buy position running. I wanted to milk this out. I wanted to maximize the potential of this move. And if you still have a buy position running at this particular point in time, you want to be moving your stop losses to secure this current position. And you know how we do it whenever we move our stop losses. We want to ensure that we give room for price action to breathe. And to do that, let's have our stop loss sitting anywhere between the 1,955 and the 1,959 area. Let's give room for price action to breathe and see how price action will be reacting to that level around the 1,960. With our secured position right now, for those who took their profit, it's okay. You are already profitable on this one. And for those who are still having a buy position running, move your stop losses and let's see how price action will play out going forward. Now that we have moved our stop losses and secured our positions, how are we going to be getting ready for both the London and the New York session today? Now, remember I shared something with you on the 4 hours time frame, which I would like to refresh our memory on, as it is very important that we take note of this, and this will also help us to have a better understanding of why we shall be making the decision we are going to be making today. Now, if you remember at the beginning of the week, we acknowledged our price action, how the 1,000, that range between the 1,960 and the 1,965 has been a major determinant of price action. Hold on a second, please. Okay. So we acknowledge how the zone here has been a major determinant of price action, if you remember vividly at the beginning of the week. And this is why we have said so. Now, if you look at what has been happening in this market since the mid-month of May, you will see this area was a buy niche at one point. We saw how buyers came in to take over the market. We saw it here again. It was a buy niche here as well. Then we saw the breakdown retest of that same zone. That was the last trading week of the month of May. Then we saw a consolidation phase around here during the end of last month stroke the beginning of this month. We saw a consolidation phase around that area. Then we also saw price action break down the structure at the beginning of this month. And since the breakdown of that structure at the beginning of the month, we've seen how that zone had continued to be a strong selling niche in this particular market. And this actually helped us to open a sell position at the beginning of this week. Remember, we also scooped some maximum amount of profit here of about over 200 pips if you had only taken one position. And remember that we had the privilege of maximizing that bearish move, as we had like 2 or 3 more positions added to that one single one. And one thing I would like to call our attention to here right now, following this impulsive move back into that zone, you would agree with me that we are at a critical point in this market, as price action is back within that zone, that very, very important zone we identified at the beginning of the week. So right here, it is very important that we remain patient, waiting for structures to mature around this area to decide if we are going to be adding more buy position to our existing trade or probably getting ready to sell at this point in time. And of course, if you had seen what has been happening around this zone in the last couple of weeks, you would agree with me that this area has been a very strong selling niche at one point. So how do we intend to position ourselves ahead of the London and New York session today? Now, remember I told you earlier that we should move all stop losses to secure this position. Very, very important, as we could still have selling pressure come in at any point in time. And it's going to be very, very massive, whatever move strikes out of this zone. So there are 2 things we are going to be looking out for here. So if selling pressure resumes again, probably in the next couple of hours, where we start seeing selling pressure like a double top structure, head and shoulder pattern, rising wedge or any reversal pattern you can think of around this area, then at this point we want to start considering selling. Then we identify our neckline to guide our bearish momentum to the downside. So that is how we are going to be selling here. So we are going to look out for selling pressures to sell around this area. However, if price action breaks out of the 1,965 level, as you can see here, I want to see a breakout of that structure, retest of that level, then we are going to be joining and adding more position, especially for those who still have a buy position running at this particular point in time. So you will see that this is a very, very important level to watch out for trading opportunities during the London and New York session today. So what I'm going to be doing here is that we will be scaling down into the lower time frame, where we are going to be looking out for how to position ourselves for today's trading session. So the first thing I will do here is to identify that 1,965 level. So let's bring that back to our chart on the 1 hour time frame. So we have the 1,965 level marked out here. So I would like to put this at the top. Let's see. Okay. So I will place it at the top right hand side of my screen. Then I place the 1,960. This is also very, very important, as this will help us to capture bearish opportunities in this market if the market drops below with continued selling pressure. So right now we have two key levels to watch out for today. So you want to mark these levels out on your chart, and we might likely see some choppy situations between the zone before the consumer sentiment index comes up, where price may consolidate within this range before either a breakout or breakdown of the structure happens. So what we are going to be doing here is to remain patient, waiting for structures to mature for a trading opportunities in this market. Now, one thing I would like to say here is this: for me personally, since I'm significantly profitable so far this week, I would like to reach some of my profits I've made so far this week on one position above the 1,965. So I'm going to be placing a buy stop order above the 1,965 to capture, just in case price action breaks through that structure. Then have a sell stop, a stop loss somewhere right above the 1,960, which will be dovetailing to about 40 to 45 pips stop loss. And let's see how price action will be playing out from that area. Then if price action goes on to break out of the $1,970 level, we are definitely going to be adding more position to our existing trade. So we want to milk this out if price action continues all the way to the upside. However, if the selling pressure resumes, that is, sellers comes in at this juncture in the market in such a way that price action drops back below the 1,960 and continued selling pressure below the structure in our lower time frame, then we have no choice than to get ready to sell the XAUUSD today. So trust me, I will be with you in the comment section as always on both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates as at when due. So we are going to be monitoring this together. If you are with me on my TradingView and Telegram platform, definitely you will be getting an update as at when due. So like I said, since I'm already profitable so far this week, I'm going to be having a buy stop order above the 1,965. Let's use some of the profit we have made to test waters around that area and see if it's going to work out as expected. So that is my view here on the XAUUSD. So we have a critical zone right now between the 1,965 and the 1,960, which is going to be our center of focus for today. So let's be on standby to catch any potential opportunities around this area. So that is that on the XAUUSD. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. And trust me, I am willing to make things enlighten you better if there are any shadow of doubt somewhere or anywhere or around anywhere. So, all right. So with that being said here, we shall be moving right into the last instrument for today, which is the USDJPY. In fact, I missed out on a trading opportunity this morning. I think I mentioned that on my public platform this morning. So on the USDJPY, we also had a very profitable week this week. And one thing let's talk about how we started yesterday's trading session. I think Wednesday stroke Thursday's trading session. Remember, we acknowledged this structure around the 139.900 level here, that pink line, and then we also had the 140.150 and the 140.300. And remember, we had buy stops order on Tuesday. Was it on Wednesdays? Yes, we had buy stop orders on the 140.150, and we also had one at the 140.300, and we were able to capture that move as price action moved significantly well in our favor, over 130 pips on that first position, and the second position moved over 100 pips in our favor. So it was quite a profitable day for us yesterday on the USDJPY. And during our live session yesterday, we acknowledged the fact that price action was consolidating between the 141.500 and the 141.00 level. And remember what I said about this area, that this will be our center of focus for yesterday's trading session. And there are two ways I said we are going to be trading this one, that is having a buy stop order above the 141.500 in case price will transition into a trend continuation pattern to join the move to the upside. But that never happened, as our buy stop still remains above that level and it is yet to be triggered at this particular point in time. Then secondly, I told us here that a breakdown retest of the 141.00 level will welcome selling opportunity, and I told you that this is an open idea for counter trend traders and those who love taking short-term trades. Personally, I didn't take this move, but I told you that if you want to take it, if you are a counter trend trader, a scalper, or a short-term trader who want to take some quick bucks, you might want to take advantage of that opportunity when you sight a breakdown on your lower time frame retest, which is exactly how it happened yesterday, and price action moved significantly well. And in fact, if you are taking advantage of that opportunity, we saw 120 pips price movement before this whole bullish momentum began. And if you remember vividly what I said here yesterday, I said that if price action drops to the downside, we have a critical confluence here along the 140.300 and that ascending trend line here, where I said depending on how price action reacts to that level will determine if we are going to be adding more sell position or getting ready for another wave of bullish momentum. And I said here that a breakdown retest will welcome more selling opportunities, that is for counter trend traders, and if price action finds buy pressure above this level, then we want to be getting ready to buy. And in fact, I made mention of this. That was my last commentary on the USDJPY yesterday. Let's look at that quickly. So I shared something here before I went to bed yesterday on the USDJPY. So I said here, hold on a second, let's load this up quickly. Let me take some water. So I shared a commentary here before I went to bed yesterday. And I said here that, okay, this is how we took the sell positions. So I said here yesterday, look at what we have here. So counter trend positions, this is for counter trend traders where I was mentioning. So those who took counter trend positions, I said, we are currently running 75 pips in profit. It is advisable to secure the position as buy pressure resumes around the 140.300 level, which coincides with the ascending trend line. Please secure your positions accordingly. And I made mention, I said, please note that the appearance of a reversal pattern on lower time frame will welcome buying opportunity around this area. Now, we saw this whole situation happen during the Asian session, so I wasn't able to take advantage of that bullish move. I was fast asleep by then. But for you, if you are out there and you took advantage of that opportunity, well done to you for being on standby to catch that move. So I said here this morning that as anticipated in my previous commentary yesterday, the reversal pattern near the ascending trend line and the 140.300 level has created favorable buying opportunities, resulting in a price action movement of approximately 100 pips. Unfortunately, I was unable to take advantage of this movement due to the specific time frame it occurred. However, if you are able to capitalize on it, congratulations. I recommend securing your position as we remain vigilant for new opportunities that may arise today. We will discuss this further during our live session scheduled for this morning. So these are my commentaries this morning. So let's look at the live chart now and see what is really going on here. So for those who are taking advantage of this buy position along the trend line, we saw the breakout retest. In fact, very, very sweet position to take right there. Well done to you for being on standby. And at this point, you want to be securing your buy position. And to give room for price action to breed, you want to be securing it somewhere around the 140.800 and the 140.600 so that you can give enough room for price action to breed at this point. So with your position secured, well done to you for being on standby to catch that move. So right now, what we are going to be doing now is to try to position ourselves ahead of the London and New York session. Now, one thing I have noticed here in the last couple of hours is the appearance of selling pressure in this market. Now, remember yesterday we acknowledged this range between the 141.500 level and the 141.00 area where price action was trapped yesterday before we saw that bearish move to the downside. And it appears price is back into that range. And what we saw as soon as price got into that range is the appearance of selling pressure around that area. And if you look at the nature of those two candles around that level, you will see the nature of the wick of that candle shows signs of sharp rejections, giving us something like a shooting star candle, which from a technical standpoint reveals the presence of sellers at this particular juncture in the market. Now, with the situation here, it is very important that we remain patient as sellers could still take over this market anytime soon. So we want to remain very, very patient. Remember, we still have our buy stop order above the 141.500. In fact, I'm still holding on to that one. A breakout of that structure will be a valid position for me to buy, as price action would have taken out all the sell positions along the 141.500. So I have a buy position there still holding, and with a stop loss sitting somewhere around this area, about 35 to 40 pips stop loss, while I wait to see how price action react. But at this point, if the continued selling pressure around this area persists, then we shall be looking out for ways through which we can sell the USDJPY. And for those who still have a buy position, I do hope you have moved your stop losses accordingly to lock in some profit. Now, how do we want to sell the USDJPY today? So personally, I'm going to be looking out for selling pressures below the 141.100 level on my lower time frame before I could think of selling at this point. Though we still don't have a sell setup at this particular point in time, but one thing for sure I'll be looking out for is a breakdown of the 141.00 level. I hope you mark this out on your chart so that you can use it as a reference point when you're about to make your independent decision. So I'll be looking for breakdown to happen, price closing below that level, then scale down to my lower time frame. It could be the 15 minutes, the 10 minutes, the 5 or the 3 minutes time frame, whichever case it may be. Look out for retest, continual retest of structure. In fact, signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above that level. Then at this point, I want to start considering selling the USDJPY. But trust me, I will be with you in the comment section on both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates as at when due on how we are going to be taking advantage of these opportunities around that area. And it's on this note I want to call it a day right now. It has been a wonderful moment for us out here, and I hope that I see you in the comment section on both my TradingView and Telegram platform as we continue to monitor price action. Do have a wonderful day, everyone, and I wish you a wonderful weekend. Merry weekend, and do have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.